Good morning. It is October 18th, 2018, and we have some interesting stories for the end of our broadcast today. But first up, we want to take a look at some of the plans that the Democrats have should they regain the House, and how that might affect everyday Americans, the news cycle, and our tax dollars. And then we have also an interesting story about taking it out of the political and putting it into the church realm. Constantinople may lose her crown. And then finally, oh no, we may have gotten it wrong about Pompeii. So let's get off the desk and go look at that stuff. The white noise in the background, that was the heating, the central heating unit going on. And it is chilly here this morning. Allegedly, it is 29 degrees. I don't think so, but I've been saying now for a week that if those heavy clouds that we had rain, that were rain-filled, if it was just 10 degrees colder, we would be getting snow flurries. Well, I'm glad those clouds have passed because we would have definitely had some snow. Let's look at what the Democrats are up to. First up from One America News, Democrat victory in November would put Trump under the microscope. Now, what are they getting at here? Look, here's Trump. This is not the happiest guy, I'll say. U.S. President Donald Trump looks up as he holds a cabinet meeting. I'm sorry. Compose yourself. At the White House in Washington, D.C., October 17th. This is Reuters, from Reuters, and Kevin Lamarck is the photographer. Oh, I have to get this picture off the screen or we'll never get through this broadcast. So what we're seeing, for those, we know what the Democratic Party agenda is. It is never Trump, ever Trump, big fat red circle with a slash through it when it comes to anything to do with Trump. They don't like him, they don't like his policies, they're mad, and they're not going to take it anymore kind of attitude. And this election cycle is one way for them to try and take some control out of common sense people by going after Trump. And if they gain House seats, or if they tip the Senate majority, which is very slim, let me remind you, Pence is the tiebreaker. If one of those rogue Republicans votes with the Democrats on some issue in the Senate, Pence has to, it'll cause a tie, maybe more than one. But anyway, Pence will have to be the tiebreaker. And that is too narrow of a margin for, whether you're in power or not. That's not a comfortable margin. Vice President Pence, by the way. All right, enough of me editorializing. October 18, 2018, by Amanda Becker, Richard Cowan, and David Morgan. And this is Washington, based or out of Reuters news pool. If Democrats win control of the House, U.S. Representatives, or Senate next month, nearly every aspect of Donald Trump's presidency could face swift examination from his long elusive tax returns to possible business ties with Russia and conflicts of interest, congressional sources say. Now, One American News is being very balanced in this first paragraph, because I think if you queried the individual writers in One American News, they would not write this last sentence that way, personally. While numerous probes have been expected if Democrats win a majority in the November 6 elections, the sequencing and scope of their inquiries has only begun to emerge in recent talks among party leaders and the prospective committee chair. Leaders are clear about what's not on the agenda. Impeachment of Trump. I don't know if I agree with One American News Network, and we'll see why. At least until the outcome of the special counsel Mueller's probe of Russian meddling in the 2016 U.S. elections and possible Trump campaign collusion. Let's just frost my cupcakes this early in the morning. There's no collusion. The Mueller investigation has turned up zero, none, zip, nada, niet. Since we're talking about Russia, niet evidence that Trump colluded with anyone in Russia to tip the elections, period, full stop, end of sentence. But congressional aides say Democrats would move quickly to obtain Trump's tax returns, to look for business ties to Russia and possible conflicts with the Republican president, his family businesses, and U.S. government interests, along with a possible examination of his handling of security clearances. Well, that last one, Dems, your candidate just had her security clearance pulled, as well as some of her aides. So, let's just move on. Now, they provide us a link to a demographic map, and we are going to leave the rest of the story. We thank One American News, and, where did our map go? It's on the wrong tab. Sorry about that. Battlegrounds. Democrats need, this is Reuters graphics, by the way, and they've provided us a very concise little graphic. I hats off to them for making it so concise. Democrats need to pick up 23 seats to control the House of Representatives and 2 seats for Senate majority in November elections. Reuters analyzed the ratings of congressional races by 3 independent political analysis groups. That is a mouthful. To give a comprehensive picture of races in play, and this is data that is already a week old, but a week, it's okay. We can use data that's a week old. All right. September 12th, 2018, changed, so they're changing it, looks like once every 2 weeks. Okay, we'll give them a buy on that. They'll change it next week. Maybe we'll look at it next week. Halieus Media's ongoing harassment for you to meet your registration deadlines and get registered so you can vote in those states that have registration deadlines well ahead of election day. And we have 19 days left. House of Representatives, Republicans are on the back foot in the House races because they are defending most of the seats currently seen as toss-ups. That's an important point to keep in the back of your mind. Republicans are on the back foot in the House because they are defending most of the seats currently seen as toss-ups. If you would like your representation in your state to be Republican, you need to vote, because that's the only way it's going to change, people. All right, moving on. Also, analysts have already identified a number of House seats as likely to flip from Republican to Democrat. All right, so what this handy little chart says is, on this end of the spectrum over here, it's got this cool layer graphic, so if I hit it and things pop up unexpectedly, I apologize. Solid Democrat, 183 seats, and there will be no change according to Reuters' 3 independent political analyst agencies. Okay, 8 seats are likely Democrat, and they are down 1. 17 seats lean Democrat, and that is up 4. So a net gain of 3. So 183 plus 3 is 186. I should have wrote that down here. Okay. All right. In this area right here where it's real, like hues and tones and gray, toss-ups. For example, let's go to the dead middle. New Jersey, I'm speculating that is Congressional District number 7, the way it's written, because I didn't look it up, I'm sorry. But it's a good guess. The Cook poll, toss-up. Sabato poll, toss-up. Inside politics, toss-up, but tilting Republican. Seat is currently held by a Republican who's an incumbent. 7th of New Jersey, get about your business. All right, let's, okay. So then 20 seats are lean. Oh, and by the way, the toss-up seats are 30 and they're down 1. Excuse me. The leaning seats are 20 and they are up 1. So we're still at 183 solid seats. No, 180. Well, you guys do the math, because I've already forgotten. I should have done the math. I apologize. Likely Republican seats, 28, down 3. That's right there. If you want some of this political nonsense to end, right here. Likely Republican. And let's see, some of those seats are held by what? Texas, solid, safe Republican. Kentucky, solid, safe Republican. Okay, so why is it saying likely? Let's go back here a little bit. Texas, Kentucky, safe. Okay, all right, I'm not gonna. Solid Republican, 149 seats, no change. So, what do I want to say about this? We're going to come back to this next week and see if there's any changes. I'll screenshot this. Maybe we'll do a split screen if I can, figure out how to manage my own stuff and see where the changes are, or maybe I'll just put a list over here. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's move on, shall we? All right. The next thing is House Intelligence Committee Democrats seek at least a partial truce. Okay, remember we said that they are going to go after Trump, and I couldn't stop laughing at Trump's picture. They never shot Obama that way. The press pool never shot 43 that way, or 42, or 41. Just saying. And maybe those past presidents weren't as transparent as this president. Anyway, talking about what the House Intelligence Committee, the House in general, and Democrats globally are about. If the Democrats take back the House in November, Congressman Adam Schiff says he'll try to close a hyper-partisan divide on the House Intelligence Committee. And here is Schiff with the unfortunate expressions always, and Noooes, who, props to Representative Devin Noooes. He has, he's had the spotlight a couple of times when he's been in the thick of some conflicts with Schiff and his contingent, and Devin Noooes mostly has just been plugging away. Trey Gowdy has gotten the spotlight. Jones has gotten the spotlight. A couple of other people have gotten the spotlight because of their interrogatory skills and their knowledge of the law and the Constitution, and their firm stance when it comes to the rule of law in their interrogations of witnesses and whatnot. Noooes, on the other hand, while we do hear him speak, he's kind of been in the background. He reminds me of a blacksmith. I think this is how I think about Devin Noooes. He's in the background. He's, just hammering away in his forge by himself, because if you've ever been in a blacksmith's forge or around a forge, it is hot, it is sweaty, there's sparks flying everywhere, and you're covered in soot all the time. So that's what Devin, that's a great meme. I wish I had better graphic capabilities. All right, I'm editorializing. Let's move on. Devin Noooes, the blacksmith. Congressman Adam Schiff, ranking Democrat in the House Intelligence Committee, and Republican Congressman Devin Noooes, the committee's chairman. And that's Aaron Bernstein via Reuters. 7 months ago, shortly after Republicans on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence shut down the panel's Russian investigations, the committee's top Democrat appeared to lay the groundwork for a reopened probe should the Democrats take back the House after midterm elections. Oh, that's exactly what Adam Schiff did. And he wasn't transparent. He was transparent about it. He made no bones about it. Quote, "We will be submitting to the public a detailed account of what we have learned to date and the work that has to be done, if not by us, then by others," close quote. The Democratic Representative Adam Schiff of California told reporters after the so-called status report was released. When Republicans characterized the Democrats' efforts as, quote, fishing expedition, close quote, Schiff retorted that the GOP-led probe had been, quote, fundamentally unserious, close quote. All right, we're going to leave it here. As always, everything we reference in the show notes for you to consider. And we have no slider bar. I just want to point this out. We are going to move on in an effort to keep this to less than an hour. All right, so from RT, we have this. Constantinople lost the right to be called the heart of Orthodox faith, says Russian Church. And this was published 2 days ago on the 16th, and I guess it was edited yesterday. And it's kind of an interesting picture. Whoever, let's see, Reuters, Halieus Constantinople. Oh, forgive me. I could pronounce that if it wasn't 5 syllables a little better. Oh boy. But this is an interesting shot. This is very reminiscent of the storm clouds gathering on the day that Christ was crucified. Props to you, Halieus. Okay. Props to you, Mr. Photographer. You did a good job. By recognizing the independence of the Ukraine Orthodox churches from the Moscow Patriarchate, Constantinople lost the right to be called the heart of the Orthodox faith, says the Russian Church's public relations chief. Now, I'm going to stop here and editorializing. I'm actually telling you I'm going to do it. Here's the thing. When Christianity was recognized by the Roman Empire as a legit faith based solely on numbers, okay? The Roman government, Roman Empire's government, having conquered this, massive slice of the planet, then found itself with way too many people to try and govern, which is basically what happened. And through a series of events, the Roman government had somewhat of a change of heart, and decided that they would stop persecuting Christians. It's a very interesting story. I'm not going to go into it now. And then also within that short time frame, relatively short time frame, the governance of the Roman Empire was split in two. So you had co-rulers. You had East and West. So the co-rulers, emperors, one would rule from Rome, and the other would rule from Constantinople. These are the emperors, but the church at that time was still the church universal. In other words, small c Catholic. Catholic means universal. So all of Christendom is what I'm getting at here, including the remnants of Jewish believers who had left Rome either ahead of the fall of the Roman, ahead of the fall of the temple by Romans in 70 AD, or if the ones that survived and fled after the fall. So that's the church universal, right? So they split. Constantine in the East, allegedly due to a couple of factors. Allegedly due to his mother's influence, she was a follower of Christ, and allegedly because he had a vision of a cruciform image in the sky, and I heard a voice saying, "With this sign, conquer," and I'm paraphrasing. But basically, the strong implication is that he had a vision of a cross and God, angel, Christ, somebody in authority, for lack of a better term, over Constantine, said, "Look, follow me. I will give you, what you're seeking." So, down through the ages, even though the Roman Catholic Church, as opposed to the Eastern Orthodox Church in seat in Constantinople, in Western civilization, the Roman Catholic Church has gained and gained and gained ascendancy, and has always viewed itself as the carriers of the legacy of Christianity. While it acknowledged the legitimacy in its eyes of the Eastern Orthodox Patriarchate, it never conceded that the Eastern Orthodox Church held clear authority in equal measure. And of course, the Eastern Orthodox don't see it that way. Nor do Protestants, for that matter, just throwing that in there. So now we come to the current conditions, and Putin is a quiet, having some commentary in the background there. So, Putin is a religious man. Putin is a devout Eastern Orthodox, but he is a Russian Orthodox. And so now you've got the background, and we'll just proceed with the article, which I might not have had to pontificate. Whatever. Okay. By recognizing the independence of the Ukraine Orthodox Church from the Moscow Patriarchate, the Constantinople lost the right to be called the heart of Orthodox faith, says the Russian Church's public relations chief. Speaking on Russian TV, Metropolitan Hilarion, the head of the Russian Orthodox Church's External Relations Department, said the Constantinople Patriarchate's recognition of breakaway Ukrainian churches and the subsequent schism with Moscow has created, quote, a new church reality, close quote. Well, in the broadest sense, I agree with that. Quote, we don't have a single coordinating center for the Orthodox Church anymore. We must be very clearly aware of that. The Constantinople Patriarchate has self-destroyed as such a center, close quote. Before now, Moscow and the other Orthodox Patriarchates could send representatives to gatherings organized by Constantinople, including the decades-long preparations for the monumental 2016 Pan-Orthodox Council. Hilarion said, quote, but by invading the canonical domain of another autocephalous church, by legitimizing a schism, the Constantinople Patriarchate lost the right to be named a coordinating center for the Orthodox Church, close quote, he said. No such center exists anymore, he concluded. Okay, so what does this mean? We're in the West. What does this mean? It means basically that the Eastern Orthodox conglomerate, coalesced orthodoxy has now completely broken up. So not only do we have Eastern Orthodoxy, we also have Roman Catholicism, but we have other versions of Catholicism. If you're not Catholic, you might not know this. If you're a Protestant, I'm pretty sure you don't know this. So, for example, my family was instrumental in the foundation of the Polish-American Catholic diocese in northern Minnesota, along with a handful of other families. It was a coalition, and they were mad as hell at Rome and weren't going to take it anymore because they were in America. Rome wouldn't send them a Polish-speaking bishop or even traveling priest. They kept sending them Germans and Irish, and this was a Polish-speaking community. These were brand new, continuing immigrants, legal immigrants, I might add, in the case of my family. So there are other versions, is what I'm saying. There is the American Catholic Church at large, also, and in other places across the world. There are Catholic church flavors, if you will, or sub-denominations that are not married or joined at the hip to the Roman Catholic Church. So what does that mean? That means they may or may not recognize the Pope as the inheritor, the Roman Catholic Pope, as the inheritor of the keys of Peter, if you will. Certainly the Eastern Orthodox did not agree with that historically, and they don't even have a Pope. They have what's called the Patriarch. So the role, the administrative role of the Pope, but they don't call that person Pope. They call him Patriarch. Let's move on, because I'm going to end up giving you a very long history lesson. All right. So, the point I wanted to make when I said let's think about this, and I was going down the trail of all these different Christianities, plural, all these different flavors and focuses and influences and whatever. Think about Daniel's 10 toes. Did one of the toes just break off? The 10 toes on the statue that Daniel saw in a vision that was shown to Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon. Just saying. Maybe we'll discuss that sometime soon. Let's move on. All right. This fascinates me. Okay, what do we have here? We have some kind of mummy-ish looking humanoid form, right? Oh, noooes! Ancient graffiti shows we've been wrong about Pompeii doomsday date all along. So, as much as I don't like destruction of public property or private property, apparently I must concede that in some way graffiti artists and tag artists and so forth, while I don't like what you're doing to property that's not yours, Thank you for being good historians, I guess is what I want to say. Down through the ages, from cave paintings to bridge overpasses and buildings that don't belong to you. Okay, I'm just gonna move on. Okay, so this is a file photo from Reuters. Alessandro Bianchi. That's a lot easier. Idle scrawlings of an overindulgent Roman builder may have just rewritten the history books regarding the date that Mount Vesuvius obliterated the city of Pompeii in 79 AD, which I might point out is only 9 years after the temple in Jerusalem was destroyed by Rome. Pompeii is in Italy. I just want to clear that up if you don't know. Recently discovered graffiti at the site has shifted the timeline of when the disaster struck the Roman city, killing all of its roughly 1,000 residents and preserving many of them in volcanic ash, which is what we saw, the mysterious photo that I had queued up. All right, I don't read ancient fill-in-the-blank language, but let's just look at their pictures for just a minute, because I can't wait any longer. This is what I would be doing. If I could rewrite my life, this is what I would be doing. I would be an archaeologist. Okay, there's two of them. Can't read the writing, not sure what the pictures say or indicate. Wow, it's got 1,700 likes. And yeah, we'll skip that because I'm not gonna. But here's this is great. This GIF, props to you, whoever created this and uploaded it to Giphy. I may just make it a permanent. Yeah, I might just have to use that a lot. Graffiti of the phrase XVIKNOV in. Okay, so that's what was under that was the caption. And I'm not going to try to finish that, which roughly translates to as, quote, he overindulged in immodest food, close quote, was found written on the wall of a house that was apparently undergoing renovation at the time of the eruption. This Roman numeral phrase indicates, or Roman, written in Latin, indicates that the 16th day before the 1st of November or October 17th, wow, that was yesterday, wasn't it? Contradicting the widely held belief that Vesuvius erupted earlier in the year, sometime in August, based on correspondence between Pliny the Younger and historian Tacitus 25 years after the disaster, quote, being charcoal, fragile, and evanescent, which could not last long over time, it is more than likely that it is October 79 AD, a week before the great catastrophe that, according to this hypothesis, occurred on 24 October. Archaeologists at the site wrote in a statement. Isn't that interesting? All right, and then here's, exploding heads. Archaeology, this is why, archaeologists, they're like this, there's like 6,000, recognized head of the field archaeologists, working archaeologists, I might add. This is their full-time job. They go, they dig, they publish, they examine stuff. Well, actually, their staff examines stuff. But anyway, there's about 6,000 in the world. And then you have, under that, you have supporting staff who might be part-time or might be considered technicians, specialists in a particular field, that sort of stuff. And so if you wanted to be an archaeologist, as I did at one time and still do in my dreams, you would only have 6,000 competitors on a planet with how many billion? I don't know. We've lost count. We should check on that. So, anyway, we may have gotten it wrong. It might not have been August. Oh, noes. All right, let's go back to the desk. And that's all we have for you today. In my pursuit of cutting this broadcast down to 30, 35 minutes, I blew my time once again, but right now it's only by 7 or 8 minutes. By the time it's over, it might be 10. I would like to remind my BitChute followers and subscribers that you have 2 ways to comment. You now have the ability to use Discuss if you so choose. Please feel free to leave your comments, questions, and suggestions either on BitChute's comment facility or on Discuss, as well as YouTube. Please feel free to comment. And to the new subscriber on YouTube, thank you very much. We appreciate your support. As always, if you like this work, if you would like to see this work continue, please visit Patreon and join the $2 a month tip jar. And there are other tiers if you find this work valuable and you want to see it continue and you would like to be a little more generous. There are other tiers as well. And so, for me and the shepherd, in the interest of time, we hope that you are blessed. We hope that you have a terrific day. And until we see you again,